with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live on YouTube and Twitter. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you until about the 7:30 hour and change. And boy, do we have a Monday show to talk about today. Not only do we Monday morning quarterback the entire Sunday slate of National Football League Week 12 games, but I also am bringing to you a ranking of sorts of teams since 2012 and how good or bad they have been, because I went to the Giants game yesterday and there are some things straight off this Rome right now that we're going to have to get into at some point in this show. We got to talk Monday Night Football, big one, Ravens at Chargers. I got some standings for you because we're at that point of the year in the National Football League. And then, as we always have, we got news and notes from everywhere. Just depends on the time of the show. If you have news and notes for us, you got to get us on social media. That's The Rome Show 1, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, 12OZ Sports. Hit subscribe on 12OZ Sports on YouTube. Follow on X. And during the live show, you can comment to me any of your thoughts. We can put them live on the air, and then you and I can have a healthy conversation going back and forth about either how terrible my thought was, how terrible your thought was, or how right we both are. I put something up over the weekend. It was a clip from last week's show regarding the New York Jetropolitans, okay? And the question is behind me here on my handy dandy whiteboard: who is the worst run pro sports franchise? And pretty simple. You know, in this example, we're pretty much looking at the four major sports. So baseball, hockey, basketball, football. But I truly believe the New York Jetropolitans are most likely the worst run sports franchise of the four major sports. Okay, so I asked that question, sent out some clips on the social media if you want to check it out. And then, of course, any part of the show that you miss, we rerun it on 12ozsports.com all day, or the podcast, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Let's talk for a quick second New York football, okay? Here's the deal. New York has dos football teams, the Jets and the Giants, okay? We've already established that on this show, we don't believe the Jets are a very good football team. Well, let's talk Giants. Because yesterday, I went to the New York Football Giants game to watch Tommy DeVito lead the boys, and it was atrocious. The game, the tailgate, the people, phenomenal. The football play on the field, atrocious, gross. And I sat there, and I was trying to explain to my 8-year-old nephew, because Nico's been coming with us to games now, right, since he pretty much can handle coming into the stadium. He's been coming to tailgate since he was like 2, all right? But he's been coming to Giants games since he was born. And I'm sitting there, and 2014 is when he's born. We're watching another, 2016, we're watching another just terrible Giants performance on the field. Like, just bad. Like, you've seen Pop Warner football teams play better football. And I turned and I looked at my nephew and I said, you know, Nico, you know what's really sad about this? My entire life, I was born in 1990. The entirety of my lifetime, this franchise has been one of the model franchises in the National Football League. For as long as I can remember being a football fan, the New York Football Giants have been a model franchise. They've done things the right way. They have won. They have sustained coaches. They have consistently been a good organization. Think about the Packers. Think about the 49ers. Think about the Ravens. Does not matter. Even though when you look back on it, Steelers, it's the same coach. And usually the Steelers, the last 4 years, are an exception to this rule. Usually a consistent quarterback and a consistent coach, a consistent general manager, those three things that coexist, you have 20 to 25 years of being an elite franchise. So from 1986 to 2011, the New York Giants won 4 Super Bowls in that 25-year span, okay? Since 2012, the year after the 2011 Super Bowl, the New York Giants, we're not talking Super Bowls here. We're not talking playoff wins. We're talking playoff appearances. The New York Giants have had only 2 playoff appearances in the last 13 years. So since their first Super Bowl in 1986 until their 4th Super Bowl in 2011, the New York Football Giants were a top 3 franchise in the National Football League. You could argue a top 5 or 10 franchise in all of professional sports. Now, the New York Football Giants are one of the worst franchises in the National Football League. Okay, before I give you my rankings of all teams that have been atrocious since 2012, and I'll give you a really good idea on how bad New York football is right now, here is some quotes up on the screen right now from players on the team yesterday, okay? I personally don't think everyone's giving 100%. And I mean, you're 2-9. You have to be real with everyone. I am 29 years old. I'm a vet in this league. And if anyone has a problem with me saying, they can come see me. But I think the franchise and these coaches and these fans deserve way better. And like I said, there's a lot of people on this team going and giving everything they have, but it's not everybody. Okay. That was Jerome Illuminor, the offensive lineman, okay, talking about the effort level of the ball club after the game yesterday. All right. I learned 2 things when I read this quote. The first one is clearly Daniel Jones was not the problem. Okay. Clearly Daniel Jones is not the answer, but clearly Daniel Jones was not the problem. Because according to my eye research yesterday and being at the last, 15 years of the New York Football Giants for the most part, that could have been, and there is no lie here. I'm not just saying that to be hot take sports radio guy. I'm not even going to hit the button. That was the worst New York Giants football game I've ever watched. It was terrible. You can't even think about a worse scenario than going into halftime down 23-0 after you cut your starting quarterback and made it essentially seem like, well, we get rid of this guy. All right, finally, we'll be moving in the right direction. Actually, it's the opposite. I think that loss was so bad yesterday, and this quote from Illuminaire on the screen is so damning that I think Brian Daboll now loses his job. Okay, let me continue because I got some more for you. It wasn't good. It wasn't good for a variety of missed tackles, converting in the red zone, turning the ball over in the red zone. We had a good week of practice, did a lot of work, and obviously it didn't show. So no excuses. A week worth of practice, you came off of the bye. Here's Malik Neighbors. Obviously, it ain't the quarterback. Neighbors said, same outcome we had with Jones at quarterback. Take a look. Take a look. It ain't the quarterback. So what is it? Would be the question asked by the reporter in this scenario. I don't know. Everyone knows better than me. Just say it. Malik, just say it. Because at this point in time, you are fighting for the number 1 pick in the draft. You're a bad franchise. It is not turning around. You are really bad at football, and you're really badly coached. You're really badly run by the general manager, and you're really badly run by ownership. Tell me something different. I don't care if you want to tell me that this individual player is good and that individual player is good. That doesn't matter. It's about winning football games and winning Super Bowls. I don't care which of the individual players that Joe Shane drafted or signed in free agency is good. The coaching staff and the players combined are causing this franchise to be the worst franchise, tied for second worst franchise in National Football League since 2012. So I don't care what you tell me about anything. I don't care about a 2012 playoff appearance and victory. None of that matters. Because clearly a team quitting in week 12 of the season is the truest indictment on a coach that I have ever seen, especially after you just cut, released, embarrassed, whatever words you want to use, your starting quarterback that everybody in the history of time believed, oh, it's his fault. You get rid of him, this whole thing changes. Actually, you might have wanted to keep him and get rid of all the other people. So clearly there is some issue in Giants land. And I stem this from them combining their stadium with the New York Jets. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. I'm not just saying that because I don't like the Jets as a fan of the Dolphins. That's the truth, man. You build a stadium, you get into bed with what is the worst run franchise in the National Football League. Yeah, it's going to spill over. There's no chance it's not going to spill over because half the decisions are made together. Yeah, I look back on that moment right there. See you later, Giants Stadium. Let's combine with the New York Jets officially. We no longer have our own home. We're a New York team playing in New Jersey anyways, and we're being piss poorly run by the top. Final thing on the Giants. Here's what John Mara had to say. I think I try to be more patient than maybe I've been in recent years. He was patient. He preached that all the time. And I've probably been guilty of not being patient enough in recent years. And that's one of the reasons I'm committed to Joe and Brian, giving them a chance to turn this thing around. Those were the quotes that Jonathan Mara has made in the last few weeks about his head coach and his GM. I'm going to be on all of the internet wavelengths today because, again, being there in person, watching that game yesterday, I did not go into yesterday's game saying, I think this dude should be fired as the head coach. I hate saying that. I'm the farthest person from firing a head coach. That is my job title on a daily basis. So just to come on the microphone and scream and yell and fire a guy just because you're not winning enough football games isn't necessarily the answer either. But when your best offensive player, and a rookie, by the way, comes into the media and says what Malik Neighbors said, and read more, by the way. I just gave you the better snippets. Read more about not getting the football in the first half. Malik Neighbors did not have a target in the first half. How is that a thing? That's coaching. That is coaching. And that's my point. I'm not going to scream and yell about somebody getting fired unless you see things that tell you this is over. A guy just told the media and the world in week 12, we quit. The team quit. Half the team quit. Half of us aren't playing hard. And you're going to tell me that that's the sign of a good coach? No chance. I'm sorry, no chance. Great coaches don't really ever, quote unquote, lose the locker room. There might be bad stretches. They might not play bad or good, and they might have to get better. But great coaches that have Super Bowl DNA inside of their system, coaches that are bred to win championships and be elite, you don't see these dips. Think about Andy Reid, how long he's been the head of a team, Eagles or Chiefs. You didn't really hear any of this stuff go on. You never really ever saw this stuff go on, right? Okay. Hey, let's think about Mike Tomlin. He hasn't had a quarterback in 4 years. That's a legitimate franchise quarterback. How come they keep figuring it out? Top down. Organizations run appropriately. Head coach has the guys moving in the right direction, no matter what the record is. Those are staples, examples. That's what your Super Bowl winning coach is supposed to look like. And by the way, if you're going to suck like the Carolina Panthers, where you're 2-9, but you compete, man. Suck like the Tennessee Titans, where it's like, I'm going to watch them because, one, who the hell knows what Will Levis is going to do every once in a while. But more than anything else, they compete. But the Giants just get torched. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is your list of football teams since 2012 and their playoff appearances. You know what? I'm going to put some music on this. I'm going to put some music on for this one. Why not? We'll use the other sounder on the break, Monday morning quarterback. All right. If you were wondering, Since 2012, the Houston Texans have made the playoffs 6 times. The Indianapolis Colts have made the playoffs 5 times. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made the playoffs 4 times and won a Super Bowl. The Carolina Panthers have made the playoffs 4 times and won a Super Bowl. The Broncos, they've made the playoffs 4 times and won a Super Bowl. The Tennessee Titans, they've made the playoffs 4 times and they have never won a Super Bowl. The Lions, the Finns, the Cardinals, and the Chargers, you know what? They've all made the playoffs 3 times since 2012. So then that leads me to who are the worst 5 teams in the National Football League since 2012, the year after the Giants won their last Super Bowl, and in terms of playoff appearances? Well, here it is. If you were wondering, we got sounders for this stuff. Let's have some fun here, okay? Number 5. Ooh. Nope. Number 5. It's a tie. It would be the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They both, since 2012, have reached the postseason twice. The Browns getting their 1 victory with the quarterback I watched play yesterday, Baker Mayfield. Numero 4. The Arizona Cardinals, since 2012, have been in the postseason twice, and I'm pretty positive Kurt Warner led both of those charges. 3.
Wait.
Fins. Yeah, it doesn't feel that way, but it is. Matt Moore, 2016, 2022, 2023. Miami Dolphins still looking for that elusive victory, though. Number 2. All right, so this one's going to throw you off a little bit, okay? Because the Giants, the Bears, and the Raiders here are tied for me, okay? Because of the ability to get into the postseason and not win. That's really what it comes down to. The Giants take the cake there probably because they actually won 1 game. But all 3 of those teams, Giants, Bears, and Raiders, have been in the postseason 1 time in the last 8 years, twice since 2012. And then finally, your worst team since 2012 in the National Football League. Tell me if you're surprised. Number 1.
Uno.
The New York Jets. And why is that? Because the New York Jets have not made the postseason since 2012. And when we're ranking teams making postseason since 2012, you must be the worst team in the league if you have not made the postseason. And my point on this is, then we're taking a commercial break, coming back, and we're breaking down Monday. My point is, winning results, usually that is because things are going well. You don't usually get good results and a bad process. Those two don't usually go hand in hand, right? So I think right now the Giants and the Jets have reached an area where they've really just are run so poorly that it doesn't matter what splash free agent you get or rookie defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, great first round draft pick, Saquon. It doesn't matter what you have. If the organization is not run appropriately, if things are not championship caliber from the top down, you're not going to be a good franchise. And sadly, it's so sad to say this, but the data shows in the last 13 years, the New York Giants are one of the bottom 5 teams in the National Football League. The Giants are as good as the Browns, the Bears, the Raiders, the Jaguars. That's sad. That is sad. Those 4 teams have the same amount of postseason appearances as the New York Football Giants in the last 13 years. Never did I think I would live in that world. We're going to live in a world where we go through every single game from Sunday and we break them down. We got highlights for you up here and we have standing. So we'll take the commercial break. We'll come back. Week 12, National Football League, Monday morning quarterback and some. Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube and on X. And I would like to say we have a really good time here on this show. Follow us on social media, 12OZ Sports, The Rome Show 1, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, whatever the socials are. Just follow us because we love it when you're locked on the show. We also love it when we get to play Monday morning quarterback here in studio. By the way, I hope everybody likes the new decorations going on behind me here. We added 12OZ Sports banner. This is my first professional win as a manager. This was the original podcast. That's obviously who we are now. And then, if you're looking up here, this scorecard, yeah, that's a 75. You got to zoom in, though, but it's one of the best rounds I've ever golfed in my entire life. So we are trying to add to the studio. Write in. Let me know what you think. We're going to add some shelves. We're going to put some stuff up here. We're going to keep making this an awesome experience as long as you keep tuning in every day, 12-Ounce Sports, 7 a.m. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Dolphins, they defeated the Patriots. Third straight victory for the Finns. They get themselves really up there in the playoff contention. Big day for Tua Tagovailoa. 29 of 43, 17, 4 TDs. In the last 2 weeks, Tua's thrown for over 750 yards and 7 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, breakout game this season. 8 receptions, 144 yards, and 1 touchdown. The Dolphins put up 24 points in the second quarter of this game. That was a huge difference maker. The Lions, they crushed the Colts 24-6. Jared Goff did not need to throw a touchdown. It doesn't matter because Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, David, that is, they went off. They combined for 127 yards on the ground and 3 rushing touchdowns, including this really, really fire celebration that I thought I would show the people if I could find it. No upload. Oh, that's disappointing. All right, we'll find the celebration for you, and we'll get it because it is. Oh, here we go. Ready? Your screen now. Jahmyr Gibbs runs it into the end zone, and then check out the celly from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Whoa. Oh, and he steps over Tyronn Lue. Oh, I love it so much. That's the type of stuff we need in sports. That is why that change of rule, by the way, from the National Football League like 5 or 6 years ago, I personally think was one of the best things that they've ever done. And that is probably why the sport's always been growing, but the last 5 to 10 years has taken a ridiculous step into the next direction. The only thing I can do for the Vikings and the Bears is play you the last minute. So we're going to hold them till the end. The Bucs, yeah, I told you, they dominated the Giants 30-7. Baker Mayfield was playing really well in this game. He completed passes to 10 different receivers on this day for 294 yards. You know why he didn't need to throw a touchdown? Because they had 4 rushing touchdowns, including this rushing touchdown from Baker Mayfield that really put a stamp on the game. Tommy DeVito, it's over. Now the Giants are just competing for the first playoff spot, whereas the Bucs, they're now 5-6 and back in that NFC playoff race. The Chiefs, they beat the Panthers. Patrick Mahomes, 27 of 37, 269 and 3 TDs. I think that benching of Bryce Young ended up being really good for him. He was 21 of 35, 263 and 1 touchdown. The turnovers, he's not turning the ball over as much. It is not as poor as it was before. Again, the Panthers, not the worst team in the league. They're 3-8. Chiefs, they improved to 10-1 and bounce back after their first loss of the season against the Buffalo Bills. The Packers, they slaughtered the 49ers. The 49ers, they didn't have their starting quarterback. It's a plethora of injuries in the Bay Area. Packers 38, 49ers 10. I don't think you're going to see the 49ers make the playoffs this year. That's just my honest opinion. The Packers, they are playing really well. Jordan Love, pretty good. 163 throwing yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran 1 time. So not much going on for Jordan Love. It was Josh Jacobs' day. 3 TDs, 106 yards on the ground for Josh Jacobs. That was the difference maker in the game. Like I said, the Pack now move to 8-3. Last night, Saquon Barkley set a franchise record for the Philadelphia Eagles, 255 yards on the ground, over 300 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. Saquon, the difference maker. He, in my opinion, is the most valuable player in the National Football League. The Rams, after that quick surge, they've surged backwards with 2 straight losses. They went from 5-4 to 5-6. So a huge difference. The Eagles, they got a lot of help from the Commanders, who lost in this game, which we'll get to on this day, which we'll get to in a second. And now the Eagles have a little bit greater of a lead in the NFC East. The Seahawks, they beat the Cardinals 16-6. Due in large part to a Kobe Bryant pick 6. Kyler Murray threw no touchdowns, ran for no touchdowns. The Cardinals scored no touchdowns in this game. The Seahawks defense proved if they can play like that all year, they can be a serious contender. The Broncos, they beat the Raiders 29-19. The Bo Nix, good football play continues. They win their 2nd straight. He plays great for a 5th straight game, 273 and 2 TDs. The Titans, yeah, you heard that correctly. The Titans, they defeated the Texans. Will Levis, he played pretty good football, 278 and 2 TDs. He did throw a pick. That's just Will Levis. Tony Pollard, back to Tony Pollard, Dallas ways, 24 carries, 119 yards, and 1 TD. The Texans, hot start, have really faltered in the last 5 games here and do not look like a contending team. Will they make it to the postseason? Probably. Will they contend deep? I don't think so. Their defense, not very good. The Cowboys, that's right, they beat the Commanders 34-26 on the backside of some crazy stuff. The Vikings, they beat the Bears in overtime 30-27 on the backside of some crazy stuff, and we will get to that right now. Here are your highlights to finish up our Monday morning quarterback. Vikings, a game-winning field goal in overtime, 30-27. But if you watch the screen, here's how we got here. 23 seconds left. Caleb Williams, touchdown. You'll see the replay again. Caleb Williams, touchdown. We'll fast forward. DJ Moore, point conversion. Yes, the Bears tie the game. No, they don't. They're down by 3. Onside kick. Yes. The Bears recover the onside kick. Here it is. Look at the little squibber. Hits off the Vikings guy. Bears football. We go. We say, okay, we got to kick a field goal. Cairo Santos nailed it. Okay, let's go to overtime. But since we Quentin Tarantino this thing in overtime, you saw it was the Vikings for the win. And then finally, what? I don't know about anybody else, but the 2024 National Football League season has just brought the most reckless stuff I have ever seen in my entire life. Let's just finish this show with some ba 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 na na ba 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 na. All right, we're not going full sounder today because we want to get in it. All right, Monday Night Football. I can't believe I just witnessed what an end to some of these football games. It's like these teams forget that 2 minutes and a timeout is like 5 minutes. Like the amount of time that it really is with 21 seconds left or 32 seconds left or what, it's like wild that some of these plays happen at the end of games. I'm like, oh my God, how are you this bad defensively or on special teams? We'll save the standings for you for tomorrow so we can break this down right here. Ravens at Chargers. Baltimore's favored by only 2.5 here. And I think the reason is The Chargers have been playing really good football, winners of 4 straight, and Baltimore has lost 2 games this year versus teams that they were favored against and against teams that we all believe they should beat. Now, our opinion and what happens does not matter at all, but it's just one of those things where it seems like it's a recurring theme. I got -2.5 Baltimore, and 50.5 is what the total points are. It opened at 47.5. So really thinking that the defense is not going to be a factor here. On the year, Herbert's thrown for 2,777 yards. Lamar Jackson, 221, 25 TDs for him, 13 for Justin Herbert, but he's not turning the ball over, only 1 interception. I think it's going to come down to, can the Chargers stop the run game of the Ravens? Derrick Henry's already ran for 1,200 yards this season and 13 touchdowns. And can the Chargers continue to be a well-balanced attack? Part of the reason why I believe they've been playing so well is not just Justin Herbert's play, but it has also been the running back, J.K. Dobbins. It's a combo attack there. I'm going to take the Chargers at the +2.5 here. I'm going to take the under 50.5, and I'm going to take a J.K. Dobbins rushing touchdown. That would be what I'm considering my daily.
Nana.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rome Show here. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live, YouTube X. I'm Andrew Romanello, back tomorrow, 7 a.m. We got Monday Night Football to talk about. We got the standings we didn't get to today. And, of course, sports with Rocky. Gosh, I can't wait. See you tomorrow morning. Andrew Romanello, be electric today. Peace!
Thank you for listening.